Well, behavioral insights in 2020 have really come of age. This is a time when the world is facing the pandemic, and if we're focused on reducing illnesses and deaths, we're dealing in large part with problems of human behavior. So, how people process information is crucial. Whether people will wear masks is going to be determinative in some places of whether the pandemic spreads or doesn't. Whether people engage in social distancing greatly matters. Whether people take up vaccines when vaccines are available may be something on which the fate of millions of people turns. And these are all questions of behavioral science and how human beings relate to risks. If we're thinking about other sources of harm, whether it's smoking or road safety, these are in large part behavioral problems. Smoking cessation often works. When it works, it's because people are motivated and given an opportunity to stop and see how the path can be taken. When we see a great reduction in accidents and deaths on highways, it's often because behavioral insights are deployed that really help people to be safer. There are premature deaths in large numbers all over the world. There are safety problems and health problems, and that's just the tip of a behavioral iceberg, really. And let's hope it's not the Titanic. Let's hope it's an iceberg that we can avoid to the extent that we are running into it. And let's hope that, in a way, the iceberg can be seen as a menu of understandings and experiments and learning, and that menu is something from which policymakers all over the world can select tools that can make lives happier, wealthier, and safer.
So it's 2020 and we have so many huge questions that we're facing. Will people isolate and quarantine if they have COVID symptoms? Will people embrace new technologies that help them in the climate? Will people show out to vote? Will they share fake news? All of these questions rely on us understanding human behaviour. They're big practical issues that are troubling governments and populations all over the world. And they're things where we don't have a reference point. We don't know what works. It would be really arrogant to assume that we do. And we need to test and experiment to find out whether we can help solve these problems. Behavioural insights does those three things. It takes an understanding of human behaviour, why we do the things we do. It applies it to practical problems, and it tests it to find out what worked for who and to what extent. And that's why Behavioural Insights is a great book to read in 2020.
Building on what Cass and Elspeth said, not only are we facing these issues in 2020, we also now have a decade of applying behavioural science in practice through government policy and private sector strategies and sales and so on. And that means that we can now look back and say, what have we learned? What really is this approach in essence? How can it be applied? Where has it been successful? And where can we do much more? That's what we do in this book. We summarize what's been done and what can be done in the future and why this approach really matters to some of the big challenges facing the world in 2020 and beyond. So with this book, we wanted to really condense and give a great clear introduction to what is the field all about, but also go deeper and say, where can it go next? What does it need to learn to really fulfill its potential? And in the future, what is that potential? What are the bigger transformations that could happen through applying behavioral insights to practical problems, whether it's in the private sector or in the public sector?
My name is Cass Sunstein. I teach law and other things. My new book is called Too Much Information, and it's about what people need to know and what people don't need to know, what makes people feel sad or angry, and what makes them feel hopeful or optimistic.
My name's Elspeth Kirkman. I'm the co-author of Behavioural Insights from MIT Press's Essential Knowledge series, and I'm a behavioural scientist.
I'm Michael Holsworth. I'm the Managing Director of the Behavioural Insights team North America. I'm a co-author of the book Behavioural Insights from MIT Press, and I'm an assistant professor at Columbia University.